Pets give you a lifetime of wonderful days and one really crappy day. The important part is to focus on the wonderful days. Hi, and welcome to Quilt Meets World, where we have adventures in piecing and joy. I'm Russ. Come on into my sewing room. So I'm still sick. I'm on the mend. I've got, just a couple more days of this, I'm hoping. It's just a lot of leftover sinus stuff, which is why I sound like this. And what I hear is apparently a lot different than what is coming through on the mic. I apparently sound a lot better than what I think I sound like, and everything. But with my sinuses, every time that I get x-rays at the dentist's office, they make a comment about how huge my sinuses are. And yeah, every time that I get anything with sinus pressure, it hurts. I've had many times in the past week where my teeth just feel like they want to be pushed out because of all the sinus pressure. And, obviously, like I said, when I get sinus gunk, it takes a little bit longer to go away because there's just so much up here for them to live, to live in. I don't know if there's anything that I can do to make my sinuses, not as horrible. If there's a solution or anything. If there is, I don't even know if I want to go through it because I don't get sick that often, even though when I do, it feels horrible. And also, I mentioned it earlier, and you probably all saw the video earlier this week. The worst thing happened this week. I lost a member of my family on Wednesday. It was a very hard decision. He had very labored breathing when we were waking up. And with all of this gunk and everything going on, I couldn't go in to do any of the stuff. They, did all the stuff, all the questionnaire stuff, and they brought him in. And then they said they were going to do these couple tests and everything. And they sent me home because it was going to take a few minutes. I came home and I was on Stephen and Stephanie's Wednesday sew day, and I was working on my stuff. And then I got the call that nobody ever wants to hear. I didn't realize I was in view of the camera, and I don't even remember closing the Zoom out. But before I managed to get even out of the house, I had a message from Stephanie asking me if everything was okay. And my doctor's office, or the cat's doctor's office, is literally a 5-minute drive from here. And before I even got to that doctor's office, I had an email from Stephen asking me if everything was okay. So let me tell you, the friends that I have met in the quilting community since I started YouTube are amazing. I can't say enough about you. Just, Stephen, Stephanie, Shannon, Sean, everyone that I've met, all my viewers, just wonderful people. And I am very happy that I can call you guys friends. Anyway, got to the doctor's office because, the prognosis wasn't positive. To put it as light and vague as possible, because I don't want to cry again, I was told that I could bring him to the ER and maybe get a couple more days, which would have been him in the ER and me maybe not being able to get into there to visit with him, or to make the worst decision of my life again. So that's really what happened. Percy hasn't been the same since. He's been moping around. He hadn't been really more than 50 feet apart from Jesse his entire life. I mean, they were litter mates. They came home together. Every time that they go to the doctor's office, they go together. So the furthest that they can be away from each other is one of them in one end of the house and the other in the other end of the house. So I think that's what's really been going on with him, is he's missing his best friend, and I'm doing the best that I can to try to figure out ways to get him out of that funk. Sometime this coming week, the ashes will be coming back. So at least at that point, we'll be back together as a family in the same house. But if y'all have any ideas on how to get a kitty out of a funk, please let me know, because the few things that I've been trying hasn't been working. I'll be talking to the doctor's office this week whenever I pick up the ashes and stuff. I'm managing to convince him to eat wet food, but he doesn't come down with the big energy when you hear the pop pop, the top pop when the can opens. He hasn't been doing his nightly, hey, give me some treats and everything. He's just been moping around. But he's been getting all the cuddle time that he wants. He's been getting anything that he wants. I just got to figure out how to get him out of the little moping thing. For updates in the sewing room, what have I done? Well, the big thing that I know that I talked about last week was triangles. And I am happy to report that I have triangles done. All of them have been cut out. All of the dog ears are trimmed off. I was on, as I said, with Stephen and Stephanie's live. I also started on Tuesday with Stephanie and Shannon's 2-color quilt challenge. I had that on the TV and everything. And that's when I ended up cutting into my finger. I don't know if I can, if it'll show. Is it going to focus? There you go. That's a little bit of it. Yeah, Stephanie was asking how I was feeling. I got a little bit excited and fangirled and stopped paying attention, and I accidentally sliced into my finger. It was just a little flesh wound, very small, but it just told me that I needed to stop for the day. Wednesday, like I said, I was on Zoom trying to get my mind focused away from other things. And that's when I got the last of the triangles cut. I got all the dog ears trimmed off. And I was just sitting here working on pressing them out when I had to stop. But I was just really, really excited to get the triangles done, because that means all I have to do is get them all pieced together. The next thing I did get worked on this week was the Lilacia Love sew along from Fort Worth Fabric Studio. I had bought the kit and was a couple weeks behind. Week 4 had been released this past Monday. Week 5 is being released tomorrow. And I said I needed to actually get started, and that was part of my goals to get done this week. Friday night, I got all the fabrics cut out except for a little bit of the background. And then Saturday, during Stephen's pop-up sew day, I managed to start sewing on it. And I now have weeks 1 and 2 done, and week 3 is halfway done. The block for week 1 is this wonderful pinwheel star. It is a huge block, and I am loving the way that these are getting pieced together. Week 2 is, they call them piano key blocks. This is what it came out with. I'm excited to see how this is going to be put into the quilt. Week 3 is half square triangles, which I got halfway done. I just got to cut them apart and do that. And then somewhere I have flying geese started. So once I get the flying geese finished and cut out, that makes week 3 done. Week 4 is a couple of very large flying geese and very large half square triangles. And I believe week 5 is just finishing it. So we will see how far I get this week. Hopefully I will have some good time to do that, because I am not going in the office. I I would be very upset if anybody came in the office near me with any of this gunk, especially after, all the craziness from the last 3.5 years. So yeah, I don't care if it is just the sniffles. If any of us are sick, my opinion is we need to be staying home because we can do the same work at home as we can in the office. Um, so yeah, hopefully I can get those done. One thing that I did try for the first time with the Lilacia Love so long is magic juice. Stephanie of Stephanie Stitches, she has been raving about this for years. And I had gotten it in one of her previous project kits a couple years ago. And I was like, well, I'll eventually try it. And it just sat and sat and sat and sat. And there have been a lot of recent conversations involving magic juice. So I said, I've got the Lilacia Love quilt along happening, and let me see what's going to go on, and let me show you. These seams are super, super flat. I've not been able to get seams this flat basically ever. And to show you really how flat, look at the back of my center pinwheel. I mean, this is just amazing. I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera, but the fact that I am able to get just barely a bump from the center seam is just incredible. So I think that's going to definitely be part of my regimen. It's probably not going to be in all of my blocks just because it added quite a bit of time. And part of it is just I'm not quite fully familiar with how the pen and everything works. But definitely with my FPP projects, anything with paper piecing, just to get those seams a little bit flatter. Shannon of Slay Arts, she says that she swears by it that way. And I've got a couple awesome FPP projects coming up soon. So that is definitely going to be part of my regimen. And I think it's going to be part of any of my quilt blocks where there's just a lot of bulk that is expected to happen. Anything that I can do to press those seams down just a little bit more. And it's amazing how flat they are. So if you're interested in trying it, I am putting a link to the Magic Juice in Stephanie Stitch's shop. So please go support her and buy some if you haven't already. I got a few goodies this week. One I've already talked about is I got my template for the multiverse quilt kit that I got last week. So now that I have the template, I can start putting it together, or actually I can start cutting it out when I have a free minute. So that is now officially put on my list of things that I can start. The other awesome thing that I got this week was on Friday, I got an awesome package. And bright pink bubble mailer. We know that's just one thing. So in my little package, I got this project bag. It was one of the extras that I decided to order with the stuff because there was a few things that I wanted. Then I got a slightly larger project bag. I didn't quite realize how big the project bags were when I was ordering them. I thought that they were little ones, but I have a few things that can go awesome in there. The third thing that I got is this project journal. And if you look, there's like liquid in there that moves the glittery stuff around, confetti. This I'm very excited for. I love her stuff, and I'm going to look to see what's in there. And then finally, there was the important piece of the package that we all know what was in here. To show off real quick, we have the elephant, which is just really gorgeous. The majestic lion. I love this. I love the little pops of um, fluorescent. The awesome giraffe of Neck for Days. That's just gorgeous. The pops of fluorescent yellow were hard to see on the camera. And then all of the awesome hippos. So I need to go get those framed, which means I get to go visit the frame shop hopefully next weekend. We'll see how I am sounding and everything, because again, if I have that hint of being sick with something, I don't want to give it to anybody, especially again with this case. It took a week or a little bit more than a week it's going to take me to get rid of. I don't want to risk getting it to anybody else because, no, that's not the right thing to do. And then today, I got this. I have a feeling I know who to blame for it. Just because I have given the dog version of this to a handful of people who have lost their dog. I've given the cat version of it to a couple friends. So I've heard the evilness / awesomeness that is inside of there. I will sit down and read it whenever I get a chance, but definitely not reading it before this podcast goes up. I don't have any scenes of the week this week, mostly because it was a horrible week. And as I was looking at the pictures from the week, I had a couple pictures of Jesse and some sad Percy pictures and a bloody finger. So I was like, I don't really want to show those. So we're just going to ignore scenes from the week this week. But I do have goals coming up. My goal number 1 is to work on the Lilacia quilt. As I said, the finishing week is going to be put up tomorrow. So hopefully I will be able to get that up, and hopefully my printer doesn't troll me this time. This was the week 3 pattern as I was putting it out there. And I stared at it for a good 20-25 minutes trying to figure out what wasn't right for the longest time. And it finally hit me that the fabric swatches didn't print with the printout. So like the bottom piece, or if you look at it here, I know it's supposed to be a partial star block, but I was like, what colors are supposed to be where? That doesn't make sense. So I reprinted it. It's fine. It's just my printer trolled me for that little bit. But yeah, I'm loving the fabrics in this. I'm loving how everything's coming together. I'm loving playing with the magic juice. So I really want to get this quilt done. The other goal that I have is going to be pressing the triangles that I finally have cut, and I can start sewing them together because they're no-brainers as I start sewing together, because that they are they're sewn in like colors, so I don't have to think about trying to make them scrappy. I don't have to worry about anything else. I just got to make sure that they're all pointing the correct directions. Then I can start pressing them and getting them into blocks, and that's the part where it's going to be a little bit more thinking, because you want the star blocks to be scrappy. The final goal that I have for this week is I need to start getting organized. I have a number of works in progress that I'm starting to realize that I started and kind of left hanging. So I need to get a lot of those started to get organized. I want to get some of them. Okay, I need to get all of them done, but I want to get my projects back into a managed fashion so that I know what I'm working on, how far I am on any of these projects, and get me my list of all the projects that are in the pipeline just so I can have basically an inventory of everything that I want to work on or am in the process of working on. That way, if I start to get bored, I can't just say, let me go to the local quilt shop and find something else to buy. Not that that's a bad thing, but I've got dozens of projects sitting around the house that are just waiting to be started. So I want to get some of those actually started, and I don't want to start new things if I don't have enough finished. So if I can get the list of projects that are going and how much time it takes for some of those projects, then I can start focusing on those projects to get them how I need them. So that is about it for today. Thank you for watching. If you want, please consider liking the video and subscribing to my channel. It doesn't cost anything, and it really helps get the channel out to other awesome folks like you and help it grow. I hope you have a great rest of your day and an awesome week. Until next time, stay happy and keep stitching.